Well, welcome back, Ridge Runner Nation. We're here with Troy Allen, recent winner of Ohio's Backyard Ultra for this Trail Talk number 7. We're excited to have Troy here, so we're going to get right into it. Cool. Well, thanks, Troy, for coming down.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So obviously you ran Ohio's Backyard Ultra 2 weeks ago now. You took the top spot. How'd that go for you?
It went pretty good. It was definitely like a new format to me, so I was a little nervous about a couple things, but in the end, it ended up pretty much was right on where I wanted to be, pace wise, and I felt great. I didn't have had a couple rough spots, but all in all, it was a pretty good. Whole thing was great.
I think it's an interesting format because obviously with this format, if you're not aware of it, it's a last man standing race. So you have to have another competitor to extend the race further. Mm-hmm. And so if you're wanting to go far, if you're wanting to set like a mileage PR, you have to hope that somebody else is up for the challenge as well. Yeah. And it appeared that it was going to be that way. It came down to you and Gabe Rainwater. But sadly for both of you guys, really, it ended just in one loop. So how did that dynamic take shape? Were you thinking about that at any point with like trying to get more people to join you for longer? How did when were you starting to think about that part?
I pretty much for the first day, the goal was just to get onto the road and feel good, and that was definitely 12 hours of road is much more pavement than I've ever ran in my life. So
basically a 50 miler on road.
Yeah. And in just the struggles of it got a little colder. It wasn't colder than I wanted it to be, but I wasn't sure really how to dress for a road 50 miler at night when it's 25 degrees.
Especially when you're going 13-minute pace or slower.
You're on a flat road and you're basically shuffling at best. I put on pants and a leather belt for the first lap, which was completely stupid.
Leather belts, real common.
Yeah, I just changed clothes a couple times. Got down, kind of everybody was in puffies. Yeah. Decided to go that route. Unzipped it, felt great, and once we got through the night, it was just kind of waiting to see who would drop off at 100 because a lot of people were talking about it, and I just figured that would happen anyways.
Yeah.
Then we got down to, I think, when there was about 7 of us. Everybody looked good for the most part, and it was like, okay, I at that point I thought we'd definitely hit 150. Like I definitely thought we'd get back on the road. It just seemed like that's what we were going to do. Didn't quite end up that way, but it was. Everybody seemed strong when we got back on the trail.
So you ended up with 129. Mm-hmm. It's 31 hours, it's a time PR, mm-hmm. right? In terms of how long it takes.
I didn't think about it that way. That is a time PR for me.
So, and probably for most of the people there, well, not everyone. It was kind of a mix between like mileage PRs, time PRs. It kind of was the way that, like for instance, Doug, the person who was third to last out, he didn't reach his time PR, mm-hmm. but he reached his like time for 100 miles PR. Oh, I think it was kind of an interesting format with the Backyard Ultra style, where it kind of merges like slower people and faster people. It kind of forces them to come together, this like confluence of like time and distance. That was an example of how that happened, but. And you were how many hours? Like 5 hours away from making it to that 150 mm-hmm. goal.
Yeah.
Which would have put you back on the road.
Yes.
Could you have seen yourself, if somebody was with you, making it another 12 hours on the road?
I think I had hoped to do 200. That was like my goal, but my absolute realistic goal of what I had set was 150.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping at worst we'd get back on the road, and just having your whole like situation change and get back on the road, off the trail. Like even if I don't feel great, we could still. I was hoping to put down a couple hours at least.
Yeah,
You know?
see what would happen.
But I really, really, really wanted 48 hours. The closer the race got, the bigger that number kind of stands in front of you, and you just realize even if you have a perfect day, 48 hours is a really long time to be moving.
And 200 miles is a really long distance.
Yeah.
And it's a fast 200 miles.
Yes, and that's another thing I didn't think about was the fact that it is a fast 200. A 24 is a decent. That's still, depending on what you're doing, can still be a fast 100, but a 48-hour 200 is just
Yeah.
kind of stressful to think about when you haven't even tried to attempt something like
And
that.
the 200-mile races that are out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever ran 48 hours.
Not that
For the
I think
actual
I
race.
think 3 and some change is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
The fastest I can
And
think
like
of.
obviously it's a different terrain, but
Yeah.
it's still, Ohio's Backyard Ultra at least had about what we figure up 8,000 feet per 100 miles,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's not a flat course by any means. So anybody that would have reached 200 miles at any Backyard Ultra
Yeah.
in the 48 hours, which is what you'd have to do, would have been really impressive.
Yes.
And so far, the only event that's had that happen is the original
Mm-hmm.
Backyard Ultra at Laz's race, Big's Backyard Ultra. So a very lofty goal, but
Mm-hmm.
I think as this event grows, as this Backyard Ultra format grows, last man standing format, I think eventually it'll start becoming more common.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see more people doing that at Big's Backyard Ultra. So kind of fast forward, you were the winner of Ohio's Backyard Ultra, but ironically, you already had a spot in Big's Backyard. So what was the motivation? Since you already had a spot, you weren't trying to run your way in like some other runners were, because it was a golden ticket race. Were you just trying to gain experience, or were you trying to just kind of like put a big day under your feet to get some more like training?
I haven't raced in a couple of years. I did a couple 50Ks this fall, but besides that, I haven't raced at all. So this was like, originally I just wanted to get some time in to practice the whole format for Bigs. But then it was just, I just want to race again. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had a big race. And 50Ks and stuff like that is always fun, but I don't normally do that great. And I definitely like doing distance much more than speed. I enjoy it a lot more. So I really started to look forward to it, especially once we went down there and met Reese and just kind of got on the course. And it being in Ohio, and I haven't been in Ohio in a couple of years, like I was really excited to do the race, to get to spend some time just with everyone. This is my friend Annie and I, like, we could just race together the whole race,
Yeah.
which was great. We normally don't get to do that, so that was.
Yeah, it is a really interesting format where you're never first, you're never last, you never build.
You don't have to stress about that. You
Yeah.
just take care of yourself. You just drink water and eat food, and you just
And you can
go
run,
until you're done.
and you can run with people that you might not typically run
Yeah.
with, because you're never getting an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour lead on people.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a restart at every hour.
Yeah.
And you kind of like did that throughout the race too. I mean, there was times where you were like finishing in 56 minutes or slower at the beginning of the race, and then kind of as you progressed into it, you went even faster. So was that like part of your strategy per se, or like
I was trying to shoot to like never really have more than 5 to 7 minutes. I just know with sitting, especially if I just don't feel good, which luckily with the pace of the race, it was a lot different this time. And I didn't really think that was going to happen. You don't need that much time. If your crew's on top of everything, this was my dad's first time crewing me for a race, and he absolutely killed it right out of the gate. And I didn't have to worry about anything. I just came in, everything was ready, grabbed some water, grabbed some food, try to sleep in a chair and fail at that for a couple minutes and just start over. The bells, man. The bells were terrible. I will say, like by the second day, I really was resenting you.
Thank you.
Just the whistle
That was
going
that was
off.
a very monotonous thing for me too. It was the 6 whistles per hour, 3, 2, 1, and then the bell.
Did you get stressed out like staying on top of the times?
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I missed a 3-minute whistle once, and I was like 10 to 15 seconds late once.
I don't
But,
think I
like,
noticed it.
I don't think the runners were like like timing me. Actually, it was funny because Mika, the time I missed the 3 minutes, she
was
over,
on top
She
of
was
it.
over by the fire. Like I was over by the fire just chatting, which is like why I missed it. And
Yeah.
she was like sitting there trying to warm up. She's like, "Hey, there's like 2.5 minutes left." I'm like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "She's like, great. Someone who's ran like
Yeah.
almost 100 miles just like called me out on messing up my job." But no, I got into a good rhythm. So I was
Yeah.
like, I got better as the event wore on. But
You slept at the start too, right? In between one of the loops.
that's debatable. There's a picture of me
I
sleeping.
saw a picture of what looks
I
like
think
you
it was 2
sleeping.
to 3 minutes,
That's good.
and
That's all you need.
and I
man.
woke up like fretting that I missed, but like
Everything.
yeah, but I didn't miss anything. Uh, but that's a good picture. But speaking of your crew, that seemed to be something that you were very on top of, with your dad there, and then when your friend Lauren and Annie ended up dropping out, they were able to sort of spend some time helping you and Annie's husband Andy. There's a phone going off here in the store, but it only went off once. But so you had like a whole little contingent of friends from the Columbus area that were able to help you. How was that?
It was great. That is my running family. Like I would be, the Langs have done nothing but make me a better runner. Like, and everything that I've learned through all of this, I've learned through them.
Yeah,
I couldn't pick a better group of people to be with me there. It was great having my dad there. That was new, and I was a little nervous to throw him in for something that could potentially be a couple days. I told him to get like a book, some other stuff, and he was like, "I'm not going to read a book," and I was like, "You're going to get pretty bored then." It didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
It was great.
no, he was having a blast.
He had a blast.
I got to chat with him off and on throughout the night,
Yeah.
and I did catch him sleeping part of it. So whether he said he slept or not, he was definitely
Yeah.
doing a pretty good job in his chair. That was cool. So you talked about the Langs being instrumental in getting you into running. How'd that come about for you? Because you're in your mid 30s and you only started running when you were like 29 or 30, right?
I think I started around like 28, 29, I think. I met the Langs, when was the first time? Annie had done Great Seal 100
Okay.
and was friends with Lauren. And I think I just went on a group run with them one day. I don't know if it was at Alum or maybe it was a night run at Great Seal. But then we just ended up, me and a friend ended up pacing them at Outrun one year. And I feel like that's kind of where it blew up.
Yeah.
And then we got stranded at Wildcat Hollow one time and Annie drove like 3 hours round trip and just came and picked us up.
What'd you get stranded for?
Lauren's car broke down.
Okay.
And it was in the middle of winter.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere. The road had flooded. It was all kinds of, it was a mess. But Andy, that's when I met Andy, and
Cool.
just pretty much since then, like, have tried to. I just try and hang out with him as much as I can, especially with races and everything. Any chance I can get to hang around with them, it's always a good time.
Cool.
So
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, they were there the whole time. The Langs were both there, and your friend Annie made it 104 miles.
maybe slept an hour, maybe if
Yeah,
that,
she
and then
just,
was like back out
Went
at
right
it.
into crewing
Yeah.
for you. And Andy was able to get some mileage out and around the.
I
out
think
and around
Reese
the
gave
group.
him some spots up on the ridges.
Yeah, he got a blast, I think. But yeah, it was definitely, even for me being the race director, this was the first time I've ever directed a race that was in a contained area to where I was literally spectating and race directing every single second of the race, basically.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was cool but also I think for the crew and for the family and for spectators that were there, for the people that DNF'd,
Yeah.
they always had something to do.
Yeah.
So it might seem like a very boring, monotonous format with a new race going off every hour and the bells and everything. But it actually ends up, I think, creating a really unique atmosphere.
It was really, really social, just having all the tents there and just everybody hanging out. No one was, I was kind of nervous. It seemed like everybody was going to be in everybody's way. But then it
Just kind of worked out.
kind of worked out. I guess we had a good tent spot too. So
Yeah, you guys were like front row.
yeah, we were like right there.
There wasn't really a
'cause
bad
Andy was-
10 spot though.
Yeah, it was just, and it was by the fire, and I just, that venue was great. Everything worked out perfect.
Yeah,
you know?
shout out to Reese and
Yeah.
Bree for hosting the site, like McChesney Ridge.
Awesome site.
Definitely cool for them to kind of experience this ultra, but for me too, I lived there during college, and it's like, it wasn't my backyard, but it was a backyard,
Yeah.
which is like very true to the backyard ultra format, which it'd be different and a little less like sentimental if it was like some random like park,
Yeah.
I think.
It being on his property was definitely,
Definitely.
made it feel like home. It was
Yeah.
nice.
So let's go back to your origination of running when you got into it with the Langs and with the group of people there. It's only been 5 years of running or less maybe that you started doing ultras. I think you ran your first ultra in 2014,
I would say around there.
but then you ran how many 100-milers your second year of like actually like your first full year of ultra running?
I think I did 6.
How's that happen?
So I did Zion 100K with a friend. We went out and did that. That went great. Like I hadn't ran, I'd done the Mohican 50, but besides that, I kind of fell off running after that for the winter. I didn't really do much in the winter. And then kind of picked back up, got everything together, went out to Zion, had a great time, went out there for like a week. It was fantastic. Came back and then had Indiana Trail 100, and it was perfect. I ended up getting 9th. The weather wasn't so great, but that went well. Mohican, I think I got 8th or 9th that time. And I was just like shooting for 24s,
Yeah.
as close as I could hug 24. And I got pretty lucky. And then Burning River wasn't as much fun at all. And I learned some lessons there.
But that was your third 100 in like a few months.
Yeah. And just, there was a lot of road, and I was just foolish is the word I would use. And then Cloud Splitter, which is still, I think, probably one of my favorite races I've done.
And did you get second place at that
I
one?
got third.
Third place.
I got lost at mile 92,
Oh.
and my world fell apart. I think I cried in a riverbed, but then just got back up the hill, and it was just flew out. And I pulled off third. It was a hard race. Like it was
Yeah.
ankle deep mud most of the time. So
Pretty hilly, like mountainous race, right?
yeah, and it just rained. It just didn't stop. The day before, the day of, the day after, but it was a great. And I stayed. I had a good time till like the last 15 miles,
Yeah.
and then I just fell apart. But that was. Then I've been Pinhoti after that,
Yeah.
but that was my first year, and I will never do that to myself again.
That is a
It was
lot
fun.
of
It was fun.
100-milers in just such a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, like I told you guys, I thought that each race that I had done would give me a Western States qualifier. And then I found out from the Langs that it only got one.
I think that's one of the funniest things I've heard about like the Western States qualifier. Like you thought you might get 6 tickets or whatever.
I was so young and wide-eyed. I just didn't read anything.
I mean, it
it's
makes
all
sense.
right there. You
It
could
makes
just,
sense. Like, oh, I'll just run 6 qualifiers and get 6 tickets.
I'm glad I did it. I just
And you didn't get into Western States, did you?
did not get into Western States.
No. Maybe
So-
karma will be good to you in the
Maybe.
future.
I would hope.
if you try to get in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
So after that next year, what did you really learn from those 600s that kind of like took you to like where you are now?
Take care of yourself. I was just being really stupid with training. I was just running as hard as I could all the time. And I think I worked nights a lot and I just really wasn't sleeping. I wasn't really listening to my body, you know. Just being that new of a runner, it's just hard to figure all that stuff out that quick. You know?
Definitely.
I feel like I only learned through trial and error. Yeah, that was about.
So what is so like a training question, I guess. So what does a typical week of training look like for Troy?
I try to do. I try to keep it pretty easy. I'll push hard once a week, maybe. On the low end, like 60 or 70 miles. I did, to psych myself up for OBU, I did 120 the week before, which was probably a bad idea, but it was all really chill. And I was just, if I feel bad, I'm not going to do it. And I had just gotten back home, so I was just kind of like hitting all my favorite spots, running with everybody else. It was a good week, but yeah, I would say like 70 miles a week is probably like what I try to stick around and just take it easy, really, and just try not to hurt myself.
That's awesome. That feels like a good
Yeah.
learning thing that you've learned from after your first real.
I don't do much speed work. Like I don't know. I just kind of just get some long miles in, and that's about it.
Definitely.
So
I want to go back to your pre-running days because I think you've kind of led an interesting life. Maybe not. I mean, you might not think, but like, what do you do before running? I know you played in a band and you traveled around for that.
played in bands forever. I was a bartender. I was a bike messenger for I think 8 or 9 years, and I like absolutely loved that job.
Walk us through a normal bike messenger day.
Just wake up, start pounding coffee, come into work about an hour late. You're basically just running around picking stuff up from law firms and filing it for them.
Gotcha.
So you kind of basically set up your own day, and you don't have like a set schedule or anything. So it was nice. It was especially nice for training, just to 8 hours a day on a bike.
Yeah.
If I had a rough weekend, or especially after races, I feel like riding helped out a lot. Definitely something I miss now. I don't really have that anymore. But yeah, I would do that, and then I bartend like 3 or 4 days a week, and that kind of messed a lot of stuff up, just being up that late.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely helped with staying up all night. Like,
Yeah.
as cheesy as that sounds, like I got really good at it, and it's
Kind of develops like this night owl. Like,
yeah.
kind
You
of
just like
turn.
you get tired, and then you hit a second wind, and then you're fine till the sun comes back up, and then
So were you doing this all like when you were a bike messenger and a bartender and played in the band? Was this in Columbus mostly?
yeah, it was all in Columbus. I've lived in Columbus from when I was born till 2 years ago,
Cool.
so never really left.
But you did leave for a little bit.
A little bit, left for a little bit.
And that's the last 2 years. And like you just said, you just got back from being out west. So where'd you go for those 2 years?
I was in Humboldt County, up in the Northern California, pretty much Oregon. So, lived outside of Eureka, California, but I was just running a farm there. It was interesting.
You probably have some stories.
It was
You can
it
touch
was-
on any of the stories you want to or don't want to.
it was running a medical marijuana farm. It was fun. I loved the lifestyle. I loved living on the hill. We lived in the middle of nowhere. It was when I had time to run. It was great. It's just a bunch of dirt road everywhere. Like you could run. I think the closest paved road was 23 miles away.
Wow.
We lived on a loop that was a perfect marathon. It was awesome. You couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
Just had to hope you didn't catch on fire. And that was about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Cool. So now you're back. Did you leave that job and
did.
come back
did.
to Ohio?
It's seasonal, so you don't need to be out there all year. It's
Yeah.
just what was kind of drew me to it at first was, I can do this and make money and then like hopefully just run the rest of the time,
Yeah.
not do anything but run.
Yeah.
Because I definitely got to the point where it was like, I'm at this point in my life where I can do that if I want to. I'd say even before we left to go out there, I'd saved up enough money where it was like I could make a good push of running through the summer and the fall
Yeah.
and come back and I can always walk back into whatever job,
Yeah.
So here I am now.
The last man standing.
Yeah.
How do you think that's helped your running career? Like, how do you think like going back and going out there and then coming back has impacted it?
It was great out there. I had a 15-mile like fire road loop 2 miles from my house when I moved off the mountain and came back into town. So that was great to just always have. There was a community forest right like 20 minutes away that was just redwoods up the side of a mountain. The coast is right there. I met a guy and we did. There was a lighthouse that had a 1 mile trail loop around it. We did like 35 miles around it. It was just like a marathon. You just show up and run as much as you want. Met a bunch of people that way. I had no friends out there. That was pretty rough. Like, you don't realize how nice it is to run with people till you have 0 people to run with. Or just, everyone that was running out there was just doing a couple miles. It was just like a lot of college stuff. So, I did a couple races and met a few people, but it was nice to have trail versus here. I feel like, I got to drive. I'm losing an hour or 2 each day to driving the trail. So it was really nice to have that right there. And I did throw down a lot more miles. Like January, I had a 300-mile month, which I had never done before. And that was all just right from my house with barely any road. So I did enjoy that about it a lot. And that helped me, obviously, get in the mindset for this was the whole point of that. Just trying to get ready to do that many miles.
Definitely.
And you seem like a very social person. Like when you go to races, like you're not afraid to talk to your competitors and
No. I annoy them. Everyone is my friend. They must deal with me.
And you were telling me like, you just like sometimes just want a hug from people.
Yeah, definitely run on hugs.
Did you get a lot of hugs at Backyard Ultra?
I didn't, unfortunately, no, because luckily, I didn't feel that bad. Every single
So
other
hugs are
race.
only for when you feel bad.
If you ever see me and I'm crying, please hug me. I don't care if I don't know you, like whatever. I just, if it's always like a good reset for me. I know a lot of people don't want to be touched, they just want to be left alone, and I'm like quite the opposite. I just need somebody to tell me to get my shit together and keep moving, basically.
Yeah. So was there ever a point in Ohio's Backyard Ultra that you had to have maybe Annie or your dad or someone tell you, like, dude, get up and get out there?
No, Annie, when Annie dropped was rough, and she gave me a heads up, and it was like, I was not, I was not happy because it was just like the plan was just like we just had this mantra of just get back to the road.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of looked at her and I'm sure I said, but we just have to get back to the road, and she probably told me to shut up.
It's like 11 hours from
But
now.
yeah, that was rough. Just because that was just who I was talking to most of the time. Everybody else. I caught up to you guys on the road and we hung out for a little bit. The road was nice because I feel like everyone kind of, you'd see everyone and you could like catch up to somebody in front of you or slow down for somebody behind you, which is what I was doing just because I was trying as much as I could to run about half of it and just kind of like very quickly walk the other half to try and just reset my body. We had shared some miles and then I ran with Annie a bunch. I think I ran with Gabe and Mika for a little bit, but they were just going a little bit faster than I wanted to go. So
Yeah, we were both we both had our headphones in at that point.
Yeah.
And we were just both like, it's just like we shared a couple words, but we were basically
Yeah.
just like using each other as just another person there.
Yeah.
You slipped me a piece of chocolate, which is amazing. That was gotta be at least two or three more loops. But,
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
great.
pretty powerful piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
For 3 loops.
man, the Snickers bar goes a long way
Yes.
when you're just hungry.
Yeah.
I forgot about the headphones because this was my first time racing with headphones, and it was just like, okay, when I get to that point where I don't want anyone to talk to me, I'm putting the headphones on.
Kind of a signal to other people.
Yeah,
Like, hey, don't talk
yeah.
to me.
Those,
So what was on your playlist?
I just shuffled a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, Annie and I had talked about like if the headphones are on, don't talk to me. It's just I want to be alone. But it wasn't too bad. I don't think I ran in headphones too long, but it was the road was definitely boring. As much as I liked switching back and forth between road and trail, and that being completely new to me, it was kind of boring. Dogs barking, and that's it.
have you ever ran with headphones before in a race?
No, I normally just throw my phone in my vest. Just like I just throw it in with my water bottles, and
Yeah,
I still talk to people so much that like headphones are just just doing that the whole time. It's a little bit annoying to me.
And so for the road loop, have you just got me thinking, have you done a road marathon before? So this was literally like the longest you've ran, like once you got to like 20 miles or
The
something.
longest road race I've done is a 5K. And I think maybe I've done a 20 on road. I've definitely done. I don't think I've ever done anything over 20. So I was a little stressed about it. I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
My heart rate, like when I went back and looked at it, my heart rate was way higher when we were on the road.
Interesting.
But we were just also moving a lot faster.
Yeah.
So
That was one thing I think we talked about, and maybe a couple of the people around us were like, so who's done a 50 miles on the road before? And no one around us
No
has
one.
done 50 miles on the
No.
road before.
Yeah.
And like the most experienced people maybe have done like a marathon or maybe a 50K or so. But
Yeah.
it was like totally weird that like no one has really done that before. And
Yeah.
it was like just great that we all got to like experience like you especially. But
yeah, I couldn't imagine doing something like North Coast. It's just 24 hours on road.
Yeah.
Like I had thought about doing that race, and I guess it would be cool, but just that's a lot of road.
I mean, I think one thing that you did have as like a resume race that was like, that sort of puts you into like that like somebody that I looked at as like, all right, this person might be one of the people that can go far, was you did have a 24-hour race where you went 137 miles at the Outrun 24, which is like a chip gravel, limestone,
Yeah.
crushed gravel path. So it's not road, it's very soft. But there was probably only a handful of people that actually had a 100+ distance race under like their race resume. So you almost reached that kind of like mileage PR.
So close.
Yeah, so,
So close.
I know like that was probably like a natural goal. Like, all right, let's see if I can get past 137.
Yeah.
But did you ever like, like when you were like thinking about things you can draw upon during the race, like did you think back, oh, hey, I've ran this distance before? Whereas like everyone else was like, I've never gone above 100. This is all new ground. Like for you,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily new ground.
I tried to, anytime I'm having a hard time, I think back. The hardest time I think I've ever had in a race was just the first time I did outrun and hitting 100 and still having like 5 to 7 hours left of running. And that was something that I hadn't even thought about until that point. And it was like that alone just like almost wrecked me in that race. So like getting over that, and then I did it the next year and it was still like really hard.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that getting through that first day is hard. Like even if you feel great, it's still just like I've done this for a day. Like
Yeah.
I ran 100 miles. Like what else do I need for myself? Like, but it's with the pace of this race, I just felt great still. the next day. Like once the sun came up, I don't know how you felt, but once the sun came up, I was just
Well, he didn't.
Well, I felt great because I was sleeping at that point. But
okay. Well, once the sun came up, I felt great. You know, it got down to the last hour and I was literally that last loop just staring at the sky, just looking for a sunrise. And I don't think I could have gone another hour in the dark. But once the sun came up, I was great. Felt good. There was still a bunch of us. I was really nervous that it was going to
Just yeah.
not be a lot of people. And there was, how many did you say? 4?
Yes, so 14 made it 100 miles. And I think like immediately, like 6 people were like, all right, 100 miles is my max, I'm done.
There's definitely talk on the road of like, I'm done at 100.
Yeah, I think Krista, I forget her last name, Petrazina or whatever.
She had a car running.
She, like her husband was sitting there, like he was falling asleep, like into the fire. Like his name was Mike as well. I was like, Mike, you're gonna fall into the fire. But he was like, yeah, we're out of here.
Yeah. She kept saying like, Mike's got the car running for me. I'm done.
So like, I think people just had that like benchmark. All right,
Yeah.
let's like either that was the first time they reached 100, or else it was just like their goal.
It's the 24-hour 100 too. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's still a phenomenal goal.
Many people went into that like not necessarily wanting to be the last person standing, but like had some of these like personal best goals. Like
What did you say? How many people had done 100 before the race?
I forget
remember?
the number, but it was something like 20 some people had done 100.
It's still,
I know like Ian and Isaac, or excuse me, Alex and Isaac, they both over doubled their PRs in distance.
Almost tripled.
Almost triple. So like they were done at 100. They actually tried to go out for another one after we urged them to try to go out. But it's like they were like probably perfectly content, and like they achieved something really awesome for their own personal achievement. But then it came down to I think 7 at one point, and then I think it just like dropped off. Like every hour, 1 or 2 people dropped until it became just you and Gabe.
7 was when it became like, okay, it's a race now. Like,
Yeah.
and just like, that's when I started like just trying to prepare myself for the rest of the day. Like I hadn't started thinking about the road again yet, but I was excited to get back on the trail and it felt great. Just took it really easy. I walked everything. I basically walked the first, I don't know how far it is to that downhill, but I just walked from the start
It's
to
like
that.
It's like 0.6 to the top.
Yeah.
When it's all uphill basically.
And just the rest of it was really runnable. It was really great. Like, shout out to Reese. We went a couple weeks before, and it was like, it was very wet when we went too, but it was just
Yeah.
like, whoo, I'm gonna have to move.
Yeah, we Reese and Wes was there actually too, and I spent like probably 6 hours like redesigning the course.
It looked
And
great.
like
You
we were
guys did a
like
good job.
we're like okay, how can we cut out 15 feet here, 15 feet there, because it all added up, and it was like it was because the original course was 770 feet of vert, and I was like, this looks cool, and then like.
That wouldn't have went over
As
well.
like we started thinking, and like we started getting some messages back. Annie was very helpful in giving us advice on lowering the elevation.
Yeah.
next year we need to bump it up. 'Cause,
Yeah, we need to try to cut out more. I want to try to talk Reese into like building some switchbacks up like that first hill.
That would be awesome.
But so like we got down to 540-ish, I think. So we cut out like 200 feet, but yeah, it still had some terrain on it.
Yeah.
Which
No, it was great.
yeah, it weeded people out pretty quickly.
It was, if you could figure out how to manage it, I there wasn't part of it I could complain about. If I wanted to complain about something, it'd be just the muddy parts, but
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it was like 10 feet of mud,
Yeah.
so just I'd do a little waddle, try not to fall in the lake.
Yeah.
And then it's just, besides that, it was perfect.
I think we got pretty fortunate with the weather. Like it was
We did.
chilly at night, like 25 degrees.
Did it rain the day before?
It sprinkled on Friday,
Yeah. It dries up really fast there.
but yeah, it dries up pretty fast. But I was thinking like it rained the day after, and like that whole field was just like water running through it. Like one of these years, it could end up that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help the race. Maybe it'll.
It would make it very interesting.
like-
You could still, it wouldn't be pretty, but you could still throw down some pretty good
Yeah,
miles.
I think so. We can always like
You know.
put the starting area like on the ridge top.
Yeah, I guess since there's no poles, that would also make it a little bit
Yeah,
Well,
Those
and,
downhills would be pretty funny.
that would be good.
and I mean, if there's ever a hot year, I mean, it could be mid March. There's always a randomly
80
hot day,
80-degree day or
70
something.
degree day in Ohio. So
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be like that one year. and
The
you'll-
heat got to me the first day. Like my stomach was not, from like 30 to 40 miles, I was not having a good time. But then I just started eating some yogurt and
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Like, I think you said it in the middle of the night, or like at some point, you're like, "Hey, if your stomach's ever upset, just eat yogurt." I was like,
it's
"Oh,
great."
that's something new."
Morgan looked at me like I was insane.
What kind of yogurt was it?
Strawberry honey, what's the Greek one?
Like
fancy-
Greek yogurt, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Or
just like
maybe
Greek
that's
yogurt.
the
It's
name of
still got the fat in it.
That's good. I'll have to make that.
I
note.
could eat that stuff forever.
It's awesome.
I bought some like applesauce packets and stuff too, but I forgot I had them. I didn't eat them.
Yeah, let's talk about your food choice. I
can skip
I
this
look
part.
over there. I look over there at your space, and you have like literally like food for like 3 weeks.
I was trying to take care of my friends that were also running the race, and I made the mistake of going to Costco, and I just bought way too much food.
Yeah, everything's like bulk size. Like you had a bag of potato chips that was this big.
The bag of potato chips, there's all that bag of food is still in my van. Like I'm still eating it because I told myself I have to eat all this food. It worked out pretty well. I could have gone with like half, if not a quarter of the food. I just wanted my options.
So besides the yogurt that helped your stomach, what were some of the other go-to foods?
I did some wraps. Dad made me some chicken hummus and arugula wraps, and I basically just tried to eat those until I couldn't.
Yeah.
I stayed off Tailwind for the first, I want to say 12 hours or something, just because I only had enough. I had a bag, so I wanted to save that for
Like
in
30
case.
servings or
Yeah, in
whatever.
case I couldn't eat later on, depending on how far it goes.
And it is one of those things where like it might look like you have too much, but you could literally be out there for another 24 hours.
That's where I got tired and I was like stressed out that I was going to run out of food, which was insane because I wasn't. But
Yeah, and your crew could always like
Yeah.
run into town. Like
yeah,
you know.
I think Morgan went and got us breakfast. Had some tried to eat some hash browns. It didn't go
Yeah,
so
you
well.
should. I got all kinds of breakfast from people. Like, did you get a chance to meet Barney?
No, I didn't.
Barney Reisbeck, he was out. Like he was like the oldest person in the race.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped out after like 30 miles, but he had like pig brain that he fried up. He had sausage and eggs. So he was
I
like,
haven't had that for breakfast yet. I'll try that.
yeah, he got lucky that he didn't offer you any. 'Cause, he probably wouldn't have let you like.
Was he
leave
the guy
without-
with the goatee?
Yeah.
I met. Okay, yeah, I met. him.
Barney was
He's
great. Yeah. he stuck around like until the very end.
Yeah, my dad brought donuts, which was it was so good. I think I had those in the middle of the night. Trying to think what
Did
else.
you have anything hot? Like the wraps were probably just cold wraps.
They're just cold wraps. I had some ramen at some point. That's always
It
good.
seemed like a ton of people were just heating up water.
Yeah.
Like making ramen.
I had a lot of candy bars, which worked out great, but then it was just kind of a point. I've had too much sugar.
Yeah.
I had a lot of oatmeal cream pies, which is like the hot running food right now.
Is it? I haven't caught up to that fad
dude.
yet.
Those are great.
Like little Debbie brand. Like
Yeah, just as of this year, literally everyone's eating
What?
oatmeal cream pies.
I must not race that.
What else?
Any caffeine supplements or Coke or
I
any
brought
coffee?
some cold brew, and I had a little bit, but I didn't need it. I was awake the whole night, which was pretty nice. I tried to sleep, that wasn't even possible. So I just wanted to caffeine. Like I'll definitely overdo it sometimes and just get kind of weird. And I mostly just drank water, kombucha, and that's really it. A tiny little bit of coffee. Soda water. I had some soda waters too. But I kind of have to drink a lot of water Tailwind's great, but I can't just drink just Tailwind. So I had to I was down in twice as much water as I normally would. And it kind of, I lost a lot of bathroom stops. Just peeing.
I was surprised about that. Like just being there watching everyone finish. It's like everyone used the restroom.
I
in
peed
between
every
laps.
loop, every single loop, of the whole race.
And I think that actually seems like talking to people, asking them like why they dropped. Like a lot of people dropped because they were having GI distress,
Yeah.
like in the form of like having to use the restroom too much.
Yeah.
Which might be because it was a little bit hotter on Saturday, and then like cold, really cold. Like so, maybe just messed up with like the like digesting food.
The heat
But,
definitely got to my stomach.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a hot heat. Like it was just like like it wasn't hot
It's
in terms
early
of
in the
temperature. But
year,
it was like
like-
I think it was like the sun.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of cloud in the sky, and like I got sunburnt. I don't know if you got burnt at all.
Oh, it's every day.
But we had like that super radiant, sun just like really pounded you. I think it was like the first time of the year. Like
Yeah.
it was like that summer
It's
sun.
just been cold and like,
Yeah.
California, it's just like the whole winter, it's just 40 and rains where I was. So
Okay.
like
Gotcha.
that was a hot day to me,
Yeah.
And it wasn't terrible, but like it definitely hit the ice
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. People had ice.
I just tried to drink as much water as I could.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what you're going to be doing here next, but I also want to kind of fast forward to October because you will be doing Big's Backyard Ultra in like mid or late October, or whenever that race is. So based off of your experience at Ohio's Backyard Ultra, having won that race, but also maybe like having a lot more in the tank, what would you change going into Big's Backyard Ultra in October? And then like also like what approach will you take competing wise in that race?
I am going to go slower. I need to figure out, I can still shave. I could add a minute to each mile. I feel I can still have 5 minutes for the most part, which looking back, unless you need it, is all, it's all you need. You're just going to get up and run again. Like whatever, just do it. Like sit down for a second, grab your water, grab your food. It's just hard when you have, I don't know how you felt about it. Like I was trying to picture the race to not lose my mind in hour increments. Like I'm not trying to set I wasn't trying to pick a time and a distance. I was just trying to just go hour by hour and just try to keep myself as leveled as I could.
That was like
the whole time.
The best thing I think to do mentally for a race
Yeah.
like that is just to pick it's a 4 mile race at a time because you can always break that up. And you did that.
And the times I did chase a little bit, like I just get flustered right away. And it was just like I don't want to do this. This isn't the right way to do this race. I think, it's so different. You know what I mean? You're just used to like there's a person, chase them.
It is one of those things where like it's all a trial and error at this point.
Yeah.
Because like there's only been like 6 years of Laz's Backyard Ultra, and now we're starting to see like all these other Backyard Ultras pop up. So like no one really knows how to train for it. No one really knows how to approach it. But we're starting to figure out a way.
What excites me about it is just what people are throwing down. Like
Yeah.
283.
280 for the one last year. Yeah.
Like someone's gonna break 300 soon.
Oh,
and it's
probably.
just
yeah.
gonna be.
Odds are next year.
It's
Like,
gonna be insane. Like
Yeah.
when somebody does that.
And that's what Laz is doing with these golden ticket races, with the 10, with the international races that get an automatic spot, and the 2 top golden tickets from America. Like I think his attempt or his like goal is to get all the winners. Theoretically, if all the last man standing people are at one race, like,
Yeah.
the further they can go.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like you kind of like, I don't know, Darwin's survival of the fittest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll happen. And like next year, I think I don't know if you've seen it, like he's posted like he's going to have 20 automatic qualifiers from America. And so it's going to be even more competitive at his race in 2020. But yeah, it's a really interesting format because like you said, do you run 50 minutes and get 10 minutes break, or do you run 57 minutes and get a 3-minute break and be completely fine?
You save, that's you can almost walk if that's another thing. Like I should have done a lot more hiking.
Training.
Like just as much as I hate that idea, like if you could just throw down 4 minutes a mile hiking, like you're gonna be in theory a lot better.
There were people a couple times that they would come back after a loop and say they hiked the entire 4 miles, and they were just like kind of using it as a trial. Like, all right, how far can I walk?
That's what we were trying to do on the road, is just see like how
Yeah.
far the first one we went out wrong, and we just we walked out and ran back, and that was don't do that one. But from then on, we were just trying to. I wanted to do run, turn around, and walk back, but just for some reason, just mentally, Andy and I just kept feeling like we had to be back, and we couldn't. Neither of us wanted to sleep. Like, we just kept trying. It was like,
Yeah.
should have just slowed down a little. It would have helped me. I would have just felt better.
And so I have it all on my results system, but what were your average times on like the day loop compared to the night loops?
I want to say, like, this is just me guessing, but I want to say I felt like I was around 13:30 a lot on the day loops, maybe.
Okay.
And I feel like the road was definitely up around 12.
Yeah.
Um,
So like coming in around like sub 50.
Yeah, I
For the
kind of turned
roads.
we were coming in with like 12 minutes every
Yeah.
once in a while, and just a little too fast. It was hard because everyone else was going faster than us, I feel like,
Yeah.
for most of the time on the road. So it just felt like we were doing something wrong, but we weren't, like it's just hard when you're all together. It's hard to just be like, no, just go ahead. And I'll just,
Even one loop, like for me, I strategically wanted to go faster to try to
Mm-hmm.
get longer nap in, and there's a bunch of people who still beat me.
Yeah.
And I was like doing.
Yeah,
like,
there were a handful of people
faster.
running sub 40 on the night loops, and obviously, like, they didn't make it to the end.
yeah.
I don't know if that's what their goal was or not, but
Yeah.
like, I just kept wanting to tell them, like, guys, you're tied for last.
If you want to last, I don't think that's, unless you're just that strong of a runner. Like,
Yeah.
I am not. So,
Well, I mean,
You know.
you were the last man standing, so
but just, could you sleep at all?
I rested for
Yeah.
probably like 12, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, however long it was during
Yeah.
that. But I didn't actually like fall asleep per se. But
I tried the headphones. My mom got me a little eye mask.
Mhm.
It didn't work.
so going into bigs, then eventually, say the race goes back to the night, which it will most
Yes.
likely do. And if you're
It
gonna try
most
to,
definitely will.
and if you
you're
obviously
one of
want to
those.
do that,
Yeah.
so how will you adjust? Because obviously you didn't sleep much for this one. How is your strategy going to change? Where you're going to, I might have to sleep more at 200 miles.
I'm gonna try and do some training. I haven't figured it out yet, but just do some night road stuff. As boring as that sounds, I'm pretty good with sleeping. Like I can not sleep for a pretty long amount of time. But I mean I haven't tried anything that long, so we'll just see. I'm gonna I need to figure something out.
Definitely.
But I think as long as the weather's good and I'm not moving too fast, it shouldn't be. I think I can regulate enough that staying up for another day won't be a big deal. Like definitely, if somehow I made it to a third day, that's where
I think
everything
it's
is gonna fall apart.
kind of interesting, just like from reading some accounts or listening to some accounts of like the Johann Steens or the Wilhelm Calmetz who has gone above like 250. It seems to me like I didn't really ever see any accounts at Ohio's Backyard Ultra of like hallucination or like people doing some like really crazy things. So maybe, just physiologically, like something happens in that like 48-hour plus zone. Like people were saying how like Johann Steen, who won last year's race at 283, like they say he like has this like weird ability to like sleep run, which I don't know like if that's possible or not. But
I've definitely accidentally done that a few times.
But, like-
You just kind of wake up still running.
and like maybe some people can like control it to where like they shut off like most of their brain
Yeah.
and like still follow the road.
Yeah.
For like, it'd be a very good skill to have, obviously. Like if you're like a superhero, you can like
Yeah.
still follow the course and sleep at the same time. But so yeah, like it's really interesting because that I feel like at that point where you maybe reach 200 miles, it then becomes way less about the physical ability of running than it is about the like how do you manage to sleep, how do you manage the mental demons or the hallucinations that come or whatever comes.
I think that sleeping will be easier. I feel like the second night, it was just too loud.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, but I feel like the second night, if I were to get there, that'll come a lot easier. And like 10 minutes is 10 minutes.
And it might be
man.
one of those things that comes natural.
Yeah,
You know,
like
you sleep, you sit down, you fall asleep, and then your crew like wakes you up.
yeah, if you're tired and you get 10 minutes of sleep, like that's gonna feel great. Like
Seems like it would.
you know, I've definitely had a couple races where I got a few minutes and like once I got moving again and everything was warmed up, like just 15 minutes of that was
Yeah.
absolutely worth it. It's just like being able to get yourself to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be exciting. I think you're going to be primed and ready, especially. So we'll talk about your near future. So you're going to head off for the Appalachian Trail like in 10 days or something.
10 days.
10 days from now. That was a wild guess, but I got it. So 3,100 and some miles, and you're going to run the whole thing?
I'm gonna move as fast as I can for as much of it as I can. I haven't. This is my first time through hiking, so I have really no idea what to expect. Like, I've done one run in the White Mountains, and I know how terrible that's gonna be. But very excited, and I think that it'll be a good transition into bigs. I guess I don't know. That's what I keep telling myself. At least I don't know.
At least gives you an excuse to like put in 200-mile weeks.
Yeah. I'm very excited to like just run and not do anything else at all. Like that's just I couldn't think of a better way to spend my time.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be fun for anyone like to be able to like have a few months to just like devote to what they love.
Yeah.
So what's your goal for that? I mean, I know you're not going to be trying to set any FKTs or anything, but you do want to like move quick.
I'd like to be back. I'd like to be back in. I have Run Rabbit Run in September, so I'd like to be back here beginning of July. I'm shooting for like 3 months,
Yeah.
hopefully. Like I said, this is the first time, so I don't know, but I'm shooting to be back then so that I have some time to like. I'm gonna go hang out in Colorado, kind of warm up to that, and just get ready for that race. Maybe hang out with you guys.
We'll see.
Um,
I'll be out there.
Yeah. Just trying to, I don't know. 3 months is just basically my goal, and I'm kind of playing out my first couple weeks, and then just kind of roll with it from there, and hopefully that'll work out. I don't know.
What drew you to the Appalachian Trail, like to do it in a through hiking manner? Was it the runners like Scott Jurek or Carl Meltzer, or was it like just the whole like culture of through hiking and like being on the trail for 3 months straight or more?
Definitely like intrigued me with everybody going with Scott and Carl, but then just more the lifestyle, just like those guys are great, but there's all kinds of through hikers that are just throwing down 40-mile days every day, just and that's 8,000 miles a year doing calendar triple crowns, and it's just it's to me just kind of dwarfs running. It's just like you just have this bag and you just
But you're definitely playing, like you said, your pack is like 12 pounds, so very light. It's like, and which is maybe the traditional through hiker now. Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing it like
I feel like it's a lot of people have shifted to like
lightweight.
there's just you can buy that stuff now and it's not
But there'll probably still be like a pushback. I always feel like there's a pushback, old school, new school.
Yeah.
Like the old school through hikers that carry
Everything.
everything, or just like who think that they need to take it slower, or if
Yeah.
they maybe see you out there with a lightweight pack,
yeah
like they might not think you're doing it the right way or whatnot.
yeah
I think it's more of a norm now, doing it the way you do, and like the people who are doing the triple crown of through hikes or through running,
Yeah.
maybe, which is still probably mostly hiking. But I mean, are you going to still keep time for social, like meeting friends, hanging out with people?
yeah I would love to like hopefully I'll still see like I'd love to see my family, my friends. Like Harper's Ferry is halfway through. It's like 4.5 hours from here. There'll be plenty of people to meet too. Just doing it solo, it's like okay, I'm gonna have some downtime.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to still meet up. I'd love to meet up with my family as much as I can. Just having been gone 2 years, I've only been back for a few weeks, so I'd still like to see them more.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of opportunity. It being close, like that's kind of what pulled me towards the AT versus the PCT. Also, the time of the year, you know. But just the farthest, you know, to get down there's only 8 hours away, so you're not too far from home. You know, and it just felt like being from here, always having been here, like that's the trail that I wanted to do. You know? I'd love to do everything else, but that's like definitely where I want to start, and I feel like I would feel like the most at home.
And it's like terrain. Like I think there's a huge difference between the terrain of Appalachian Mountains and the Cascades or the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and the you know mountains in California and stuff. It's just so different. The Green Tunnel, you don't have that out west. Which I think is why some people have struggled switching, you know, going out west if you're from the east or coming to the east if you're from the west. Well, that's awesome. It's gonna be exciting to see what you learn from that. But you said you had run in September, bigs in October. Like looking down the road, maybe in the next year, like it seems like you're interested in the through hiking stuff. What's like some bigger goals for you? Like you seem to like the Lazarus Lake style stuff. You've competed in his Barkley Fall Classic. Any interest in anything else that's maybe considered tougher?
I at the moment, I mean, I kind of just have been focused on through hiking. I'd like to do a couple bike tours this winter if I can. I definitely still want to get some races in. I don't know. I don't have like a big goal besides. I don't really set too many goals that far out. So bigs is definitely like my main thing for this year. I'd like to get back down to Pinhoti and give that race another go, but also it just depends on how through hiking goes and what I'm feeling by then. I'm not sure really what I want to do.
What about more like mainstream ultras like Western States, Hard Rock, things that are like harder to get
Maybe
into?
one day.
Like, are you collecting tickets, I guess?
Yeah, that's the main reason for Run Rabbit was to have both of those.
Yeah.
I mean, I would absolutely kill to do Western States. I have to run Hard Rock. Like, I just want to do it, and I know it's going to take.
Get on the list because it's even harder to get on.
I know it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
But I want to.
You can go volunteer and get extra.
I wanted to get out and do Soft Rock this year, but I don't think I'll get back from the AT in time.
In July,
Which is kind of a bummer, but. Like,
well, let me know if you do, because I've considered doing that too.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really fun.
Good way to experience it.
I think it would be great, and then we won't have to try and race Hard Rock.
Next year.
Yeah, at least get an idea. But yeah, I don't have too many goals besides just the through hiking.
This year.
Yeah, this year. I would like to do some harder stuff. I feel like through hiking is kind of the natural progression of what I want to do right now, just because it's fairly cheap compared to races, you know.
And it totally shifts the focus from basically a 24-hour race to stringing together logistics of multiple days, even multiple weeks in your case.
Yeah.
Different type of adventure and
Yeah.
like exploration, I think.
There's a few like little I'd love to shoot. Just to try some FKTs, like the Laurel Highlands double crossing. I absolutely want to go for
Okay.
when I can make that work. Hopefully this fall. I've always wanted to double cross Wayne National Forest, and
You'd be the first.
yeah, I love it out there. I ride my mountain bike out there. I run out there. I ride my dirt bike out there. I love it, and it'd be great. It'd be great to do it with multiple people, just because it's a big enough trail that
Yeah.
you can just get a squad going, you
Okay.
know. But stuff like that, just something I need to like. I'd like to kind of explore more around me wherever I am, and there's plenty of things to do that I don't have to spend like all of my money on races. As much as I love racing, you know, like try and do some stuff that's just, I guess, more unconventional
Yeah.
and cheaper.
Cool.
Awesome.
You have anything else, Wes?
No, I think that's it. Do you want to hit him with our couple quick questions that we have for you?
Yeah, so we've been starting this like not rapid fire, but just like more like fun questions at the end. So the first one is, if you could choose any person from history, regardless of if they're a runner, in any location, assuming that person can keep up with you to run with, who would it be and where?
Who would it be and where?
It could be a non-runner, whoever.
Non-runner, huh? Man, that's too quick of a question. I would pick.
Or it could be a friend, be someone you already run with.
Or just a famous runner?
Let's go to another one.
All right, all right. All right. Who's your
We're just gonna mess up all of these.
Who's your least favorite trail runner?
Who's my least favorite trail runner? Oh, I have a handful of those. Like,
Come on, this is where we like really like hit the hard like some controversy out there.
I don't understand. I just don't like grumpy.
Who's grumpy?
Just
Who's that?
grumpy.
Come on, I want
You're not
some
gonna get it
names.
out of me. I just don't want just some grumpy, negative, old timer, harsh from a buzz when I'm out having a great time.
Harsh
you
in
know?
the buzz.
I
You
just,
know who my pick is that lady that yelled at us today at our run.
choose. That's actually who I choose.
The lady that lives off of the folly.
We didn't. That's her property. We can't be on it.
We might like put 1 foot into it.
Yeah.
Like my bad.
I'm sorry. We're just out here, just enjoying Athens. My bad.
She'll get over it.
Yeah, that's exactly what. It's just like,
All right.
Come on,
You have to answer this next one. If you had 25 shots from half court on a basketball court, and if you made one shot, you get $25 million. But if you missed all of them, you'd go to jail for 25 years. Would you attempt the 25 shots?
I am literally the worst basketball player in the world. Like, I'm so
You
bad.
don't think you'd make one on accident?
I would. No, no, I know I wouldn't. I would absolutely miss every single one of them. I can barely dribble. So
you wouldn't take the shots?
I wouldn't take the shots. Man, isn't that sad?
I mean, hey, it's a big risk.
Yeah.
Not a basketball player, man.
You want to come back to the one person, one place? You don't have any, like a...
Well, pick the place first.
Why am I blanking so hard?
I don't know. You don't have any inspiration. You must just like not have inspirations,
You can't.
idols.
It's just Troy.
No. I don't want to be alone. It's just like there's a lot of people that I would like to run with. I'm trying to think of like just a cool, fun person, and I can't think of one.
Fleetwood Mac, like the big.
Oh man, I could do that. Yeah, me and Christine McVie, my favorite songwriter. I'll do that.
Where are you gonna take him? Take her.
I lived about 2 hours from the Trinity Alps.
Okay.
It's like a little baby Yosemite, and I absolutely loved every second that I spent there. That was my first not that I hadn't been in the mountains before, but like I got to go out there multiple times and like just camping and stuff. Just alpine lakes, man. When you're from the Midwest, you don't know about an alpine lake, and they're everywhere, and they're
Yeah.
all tight. You know.
So that's where you would go. Trinity Alps, huh?
Yeah, Trinity Alps. That's
I like
my.
it. Do you have any like quick, controversial questions?
Not controversial, but I'm curious. What's your favorite sweet choice?
It's a tie right now between sea salt caramel bites and the peanut butter cream pies that I've been eating the whole time I've been here.
That's good.
They're good. It's like 410 calories. They're delicious.
For one cookie? Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of calories for a cookie. Did you have any of those during the race, during
Yes.
your background? You
Yes. Dad brought a whole box.
did. Should have snagged one.
Yeah. It used to be frosted honey buns because they were 720 calories.
Really?
And they're cheap, but you can't just eat honey buns all the time. It turns out.
It's still like 50 cents from the gas station.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was actually like making a list of like, if I ever do backyard ultra, like what will I eat?
Dude, hit the dollar store hard. Just go to
Okay.
Dollar Tree, and there's like a whole wall of just garbage food that is
Huge
pretty
calories.
cheap. You know,
I had
It's
a
$1.
I had a burrito from Taco Bell today. It was like $1. It had like 600 calories. Like the Frito burrito beef
Yeah.
cheese.
Oh, that one's delicious.
That's a good one. It's $1. It's like the best
Yeah.
best menu item right there.
I lived off the 5-layer burritos I had like 6 a day for probably 3 years of my life when I was a broke courier when I first started. And they're still delicious.
The good thing about those, you can just like stuff them in your like race gear like the day before and they'll still be good.
I found a hash brown yesterday from when Morgan fed me on
Oh,
the
like a
second
McDonald's-
day. Yeah, I
McDonald's
like
hash
went
brown?
to put my bottle in and there's just like a nasty hash brown just like sitting. I guess the hash brown was fine, but the wrapper
Probably
wasn't.
completely
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff's not going bad.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all we got. Thanks for joining us, Troy. If you
Thank
want
you
to
guys for having me.
hit us up, where can we find you on social media first?
Instagram at Ginger Frankenstein, and I'm on Facebook. That's it. I'm on Twitter, but that's just because of the Barclays, so I probably won't last very long.
Just follow Barkley.
Yeah.
So follow Troy Allen, social media, Facebook, Instagram. Find us, Ridge Runners, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play,
YouTube,
Podcasts,
of course.
and YouTube. Anyway, till next time, happy trails.